Taylor's written a lot of songs about adultery recently. There was illicit affairs on Folklore, there was Ivy on this one, and No Body No Crime, and August on Folklore, and I don't know what to make of that. Hello, I'm Jasmine, and I'm gonna review Taylor Swift's Evermore. 2020 was bad for everyone, but Tay-Tay still managed to bring us not one, but 2 albums this year. She did kind of make me feel quite bad about my own lack of productivity. I finished my university degree and I'm still way less productive than she is, but that's fine. It's all good. The first song I wanted to review is Willow. Got little plucky strings. It's like invisible string from Folklore. I love the chorus. I wasn't keen on this song when I first heard it, but then like, I never like the Taylor Swift singles she releases. Never. Like, I love Taylor Swift, but like her choice of singles is just not my fave, but this is actually good. I love the video. It's very like fantasy-like. It's like an extension of this world she created with Folklore and now Evermore. And I think the reason I like this song is because it's not like a cut and dry love story. The characters Taylor's like delving into means that we get these kind of like complex, nuanced, flawed versions of love. She says, "Wherever you stray, I follow. The more that you say, the less I know." Makes it sound like the person who she's describing is very mysterious. The relationship is not completely healthy because she's just following this person. Even when they stray, they seem like deceptive. She says how they're sneaking in. So you're kind of like, maybe you shouldn't be with this person. But that's my opinion. Next up, we have Gold Rush. Oh, the strings. Oh, they break my heart. So I love the pulsating beat that goes through this. You've got Jack Antonoff producing, you've got like all the different contrasts in the song, you've got the slow beginning where she says, "Gleaming, twinkling, eyes like sinking ships on waters, so inviting I almost jump in." She has this like imagery of a siren in the water who's luring her into her like death, which is like a great image for someone you're meant to be in love with. I love how she goes from like a minor key in the verses, which she's like, "I don't like a gold rush, da, da." That's in a minor key, and then it like goes into this beautiful major key in the chorus where she's like, "What must it be like to grow that beautiful?" It's like changing the key, and I just love it when anyone ever does that in a song. I think it's like genius. It reminds me of Green Light by Lorde, where it goes into like an explosive major key in the chorus, and it's really triumphant and beautiful. I think she captures the whole thing of not wanting to have a crush on someone, where she says, "I don't want a gold rush, everybody wants you." She's talking about someone who everybody wants, this idealized fantasy that everyone is after, and she doesn't want to be like everyone else where she's just in love with this person but she can't help it. She's very resistant to having a crush on this person, which I think is like quite relatable because having a crush can suck. And she, in the song, you know, says about having like fantasies that kind of melt into her deity. I thought this was just really interesting because the person she talks about, everybody wants them. They're on this pedestal. I feel like Taylor, like, she's on a pedestal herself. She's someone that is desired. She's like an icon of beauty, I guess you could say. She fulfills those beauty standards. But the fact that she's writing about someone else being desired by everyone, like, you know, I guess she knows how the other half lives too. Just like the imagery of the gold rush where, and I looked this up, historically, in 1949 there was some gold rush and everyone's obviously going for this gold, but the image of gold is something that's appealing in how it looks. Perhaps it's a bit more of a superficial image, a superficial love that everyone has. But then she juxtaposes that with the love that she would share with this person she's fantasizing about. She says, "And the coastal town we wandered round had never seen a love as pure as it." So she juxtaposes the love that she'd have with this person and says that it's much purer than the kind of idealized, superficial fantasy that everyone else has of this person. She says, "My mind turns your life into folklore." Shout out to her previous album, also called Folklore, but I think it's like a perfect way of saying about how we mythologize the lives of people we admire, we have a crush on, we, you know, see on the TV, like we have this idea of what their lives are and it's completely made up. I think it's cool that Taylor does that too. The next song I wanted to review is Tolerated.
I notice everything you do.
Okay, so Taylor has like a habit of making the 5th song on the album list the most tragic and the one that makes you cry. On Red, it was All Too Well. On Lover, it was The Archer, which is like so sad. And then on this one, it is Tolerate It. I love this song. She's writing from a character perspective. I hope she's writing from a character perspective because I want her and Joe Alwyn to live happily ever after. She's writing from the perspective of a person who feels like their partner no longer appreciates them. She says, you know, you tolerate it, like you barely appreciate it, and she says love should be celebrated. But I think what I found like really heartbreaking about the song is that she refers to other songs that I loved and she like twists the images and makes them depressing. She says in Peace, which I think she wrote about her and Joe Alwyn, that you paint dreamscapes on the wall. And then in this song, she's like, use my best colours for your portrait. So it's like this same kind of image of art. Before she was saying it, you know, in a romantic way, like, oh, you paint dreamscapes on the wall. But now it's using my best colours for your portrait. Almost like she herself has been used up. Her partners used her up for themselves. They're not giving her anything back. It's too sad. I think I need to like move on. I'll cry. Next up is No Body, No Crime. Ooh.
He did it. He did it.
More people should write murder mysteries as songs.
He did it, but I just can't prove it.
This song is an Agatha Christie novel in a song. Also, she sang it with Haim, who I love, and I think my favourite part about the song is it's all about Esty, who's been murdered by her husband, and Taylor Swift is like, Esty was in an Olive Garden, you know, she suspected it was infidelity, and now she's gone, and the mistress has moved in. But I think it's cool because Esty, I don't know, Esty, she's part of Haim, she's one of the Haim sisters, and there's like a murder song about her where she dies and gets murdered, and I think that's a sign of true friendship. I want Taylor Swift to write a song where I get murdered by my adulterous husband. That's like another thing. Taylor's written a lot of songs about adultery recently. There was Illicit Affairs on Folklore, there was Ivy on this one, and No Body, No Crime, and August on Folklore, and there's a lot of adultery. I don't know what to make of that. But before I go on, if you like my review, then give me a like, subscribe. Tell me what your favourite song off the album is. Tell me what your least favourite song off the album is. Next up, I'm gonna review Ivy. Another song about infidelity. Okay, but Ivy is like an image, is poison ivy, and it's growing all over her stone house. So it's her stone house is a metaphor for her because she's guarded. Oh, sorry. She's guarded, and then this ivy grows over her, this guy she meets, and they take down her defenses. But then, yeah, I looked this up, and if ivy grows on your house, it can cause structural damage. So that her imagery, the relationship, because she's cheating on her boyfriend or husband, whatever, with like this guy, and it's gonna, you know, eventually damage her. It will take down her foundation. Love it. I love like all the countryside aesthetic, the cottagecore aesthetic. I should have worn like a flannel. Damn it. very dramatic. Tay Tay knows her drama. It's like a TV show. Will he find out? Tune into the next album. The final song in this album review is the final track on the album, Evermore. Oh, I think this is like a sad one. Oh.
That this pain would be for.
The strings. This song, it's like the final track on the album. It's super depressing. It's all about like someone who I guess is in like kind of a period of intense sadness. She says, "Grey November, I've been down since July." She says, "I replay my footsteps on every stepping stone." She's going over her actions in the past and she's like, what has led me to this point of despair that's never ending? I think it's weird because I swear the rest of her albums always end on a hopeful note. Reputation ends on New Year's Day, which is the perfect hopeful song. Lover ends on Daylight, which has like the really cute voice message of her being, I want to be defined by not the things that I fear, but the things that I love. And then this one, she's like, everything sucks, this is never ending, but I guess it's kind of the perfect song for 2020. You know, you've been stuck in your house for like God knows how long, and bad stuff happens, and I think this song reflects her mood and probably a lot of people's mood this year. Not the most hopeful way to end an album. Let me know in the comments, do you guys like this duet between Bon Iver and Taylor Swift, or do you like Exile more? I like how Evermore is sort of a full circle. In this song she says, and when I was shipwrecked, and then that's a parallel to the first line in Willow when she says, I'm like the water when your ship rolled in that night. And I think she uses a lot of imagery of water throughout, and being shipwrecked, being unmoored, lacking a sense of direction, being basically when you're shipwrecked, you're stuck, you're static, you can't go anywhere, like lockdown. By putting that parallel to Willow, it's like we've seen this relationship kind of crumble, and it goes through all these different phases in the album, and it ends on a sad note. So that's fine. Thanks, Taylor. You just don't want me to be happy. I mean, 2020 was bad enough and you're just like adding on to my emotional heartbreak. That's the album. That's Evermore. Maybe Tay will release a third album, but I feel like it has to rhyme because it's like folklore, Evermore, maybe something more, any guesses for like her next album? Maybe it's a trilogy. Forevermore? Forever, I'll be forevermore a T-Swizzle fan. To sum up, I love the cottage aesthetic of this album. I love that she writes from a character perspective. A part of me does want her to return to her more diary entry kind of songs, because I'm nosy, but that's okay. We're all nosy. I want to know what goes on in Tay Tay's life. I'm like a little paparazzi. If you liked my review, then click, then smash the like button. Click subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do more album reviews. Let me know what was your favourite song on the album. I feel like people are taking Taylor more seriously now that she's going to the indie folk sound, when she's literally been talented and amazing at songwriting her whole life. So, okay, thanks guys. Bye.